So the votes are in, and the character that won the voice actor poll is Shadow. He has the least amount of all these characters, but I guess since it's the year of Shadow, I gotta do a voice ranking of him. Of course, it'll be outdated by the end of the year when Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes out.
すべてのエメラルドを手に入れ、必ず真実を見つけてみせる。
So the first person we're going to look at is Koji Yusa. Hope I said that right. Who's the longtime Shadow voice actor in Japan, voicing the character since 2001. If only we had that same consistency in America. I only mention this because I know someone will mention it in the comment section. I'm not going to talk about all the foreign ones, but since Japan is a big part of Sonic, and I mentioned some Japanese voice actors in the previous video, including Sonic's main voice actor Junichi in the last one, mostly because a lot of people know about that voice. Not people know about the Shadow Japanese voice, but anyway, it's okay. I don't really know how to rank it since it's easier to compare Junichi to our Sonic voice actors as compared to this one, who just sounds it just sounds a lot different than the other Shadow interpretations. Maybe it was in English, I could maybe compare it, but for now I'm just gonna say here is just an additional Shadow voice actor, and let's get into his main voice actor, shall we? Well, one of them is actually kind of minor, but you probably don't even know that he was a voice actor.
Even with all this help, you still couldn't defeat Sonic.
Alright, so I was thinking who should go here. The one that only has a couple lines that was just kind of a temporary little in-between voice, or one of the main voice actors for Shadow. And I decided to go for the little in-between voice over Kirk Thornton, who I think is the not bad, but least Shadow-esque Shadow voice. Yeah, and sometimes it sounds better than other times, but this guy, who also voices the character of Orbot, which is a character I'm not that big a fan of. The Eggman's new sidekicks aren't as good as his previous ones, sorry. But yeah, his version of Shadow, well, the first time I heard it was in Sonic Generations, and he barely even speaks in that game, and that's better off for it. Uh, Maybe it's just the direction, which a lot of the direction during this era is bad. We will see what happens when we get Sonic X Shadow Generations, if it's any good, but from this standpoint, I just do not care for his version of Shadow. He just sounds like someone like, I'm trying to be overly edgy. I'm better than you, Sonic. Without any of the nuance the character has, and I don't know how many Shadow fans are even a fan of his portrayal like, at all. It's just, yeah, his lines are that great, and neither is the performance. I don't know, it just me. The lines and overall everything else about the character is just not done well, at least compared to every other voice actor. And because of that, just because he feels so unshadow-like for the most part, I think Sonic Forces was okay at the best. But overall, I just not crazy about this voice. Like I said, when I say the voice, I'm not talking about the person themselves. I'm just saying how the character sounds, and that can be beyond their control, their chaos control, if you will.
You've got this, Sonic. How are you doing, Sonic? The red swelling may be a weak spot. Sonic, aim for it.
I bet you didn't know that Shadow had two voice actors in Sonic Adventure 2. Well, kind of. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but during the final boss, known as the Final Hazard, certain voice lines were done by Sonic's voice actor, Ryan Drummond. And because of that, some lines just sound really weird from Shadow. Because they don't really match David Humphrey's performance that much. In fact, it sounds kind of like Kirk Thornton's, but with a mix of the Drummond Sonic. You can kind of hear it during some of the lines. And overall, it's okay, but for someone who just basically was just filling in, I'm not sure what exactly happened. It just seemed like a fill-in job. Either it was just a original beta tape before David Humphrey was even recorded, or just like, oh, they added additional things and they just had him on hand. Who knows? Either way, it's a temporary fix, and, you know, it technically would be worse than the last one, but just because I just don't like the ones, the where Shadow games that other voice actor appears in, not Shadow games, the Sonic games that the Shadow voice actor appears in that we saw last time, is that I'm going to rank this one higher because Sonic Adventure 2 and the Final Hazard is amazing. So yeah.
Almost out of rings. Switch places with me. Sonic, you literally broke our world. Why would I trust you to do anything?
So after years of Sega treating Shadow like he's just a generic edgelord with no other character personalities, we finally got Shadow back in character in Sonic Prime. Even though he doesn't travel with Sonic for the most part, he just stays in his own area. Every time he's there, he's basically the best character in the entire show, because he actually feels like he's in character. You know how long it's been since Shadow was in character? Well, it's been like over 10 years, that's what. And also, him fighting Sonic is pretty awesome in this show. Let's just say that. His voice, on the other hand, is well, it works. I wouldn't say it's the best voice, though it definitely is way better than the one we got right now. It's a lot more nuanced and more subdued compared to the other voice actors we've seen for this character. But it kind of worked because, after all, we've heard him being overly edgy a lot, so it's nice to just hear a more subdued version, more relaxed version, even though he always fights Sonic in the show. But hey, that's just something they love to showcase. We're already down to two voice actors, and yeah, you already know who the last two are, but you might be surprised in the order I have them in.
Something else. It's you. The world chooses to become my enemy. I will fight like I always have.
Some of you may be surprised that I didn't put Jason Griffith as #1 because everyone seems to do that. In fact, there's a bunch of people who think that he's going to be voicing the character in the new Sonic movie just because of Will. I don't really understand that at all, and I've never been that big a fan of his voice, but I can understand why others like it. He's one of the, because, okay, my first game I ever played was Sonic Heroes, so the first Shadow voice I heard was that, and then I see this game. It's like, oh, Shadow's really cool in that Sonic Heroes. I want to play as him and his whole game. And then I hear this voice, which sounds a little different. He's like overly edgy, and yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog is the start of a downfall in this character. It slowly recovered in Sonic 06, oddly enough. But yeah, I don't think this voice is bad though. That was what I thought as a kid, but now I was like, yeah, this voice is pretty solid. It sounds good and fits the character, and especially in games like Sonic 06, he definitely does good line reads and all that. But just this is just not my favorite Shadow voice actor. For the most part, it's good, but there are times I think it's just not what I think Shadow sounds like. But that's just me. I know if you think he sounds that way, that's fine by you. Do you? I just don't understand why this is the end-all be-all voice, especially since I think his original voice actor was his best by a long shot. I know compared to Kirk Thornton, he's a lot better, and of course he's ranked #2 in this list, meaning that he's obviously good. It's just like I'm just shocked that people think he's like, yeah, this guy's going to be the voice for him in the actual movie. I just don't really understand that. Like that's a pipe dream, like by a landslide. I mean, I would instead of trying to get him in the movie, I would try to get him to be the actual voice for Shadow again. I don't know why you what. That doesn't make any sense. They're not going to do it. They're going to hire a celebrity. They did that for the last characters. All right, people. We had Tails with one of the actual Sonic voice actors, but we're not going to get Shadow. Okay, whatever. Anyway, that's my whole thing about that. Like I said, not a bad voice. In fact, I think some of the lines of Shadow the Hedgehog, the game, are done well. Just a lot of the writing of Shadow the Hedgehog, the game, is awful. But yeah, Jason Griffith, I can see why he's your favorite. And I kind of grew up with his voice as well as the original voice because I kind of grew up with multiple different sets of voice actors. But at the same time, I just think Shadow's original voice sounds way better than any of his future voices, which is why I was going to cut away after that, but then I was like, oh yeah, I have to do another little clip of the voice at the end, like I did the other voice actors, so it makes sense with the rest of the video. But yeah, I was going to say, we're going to go to the next voice actor, but you already know who it is based off the process of elimination.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
My name is Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
Well, not surprising if you know me, but yeah, David Humphrey is my favorite Shadow voice. By far, actually. It's not really much of a competition in my head. That's why I'm shocked that some people think that Griffith is so much better than Humphrey. And the main reason why I like him better is that his voice sounds the most natural. Sounds like he doesn't have to put that much effort into it. I mean, obviously he does. That's not what his normal speaking voice sounds like. Just the voice he does for Shao sounds the most natural coming out of the character. After all, he was the first ever person to voice his character. It wasn't like this character existed beforehand. The character appeared with the voice. So whenever I associate Shadow with something, I associate Sonic Adventure 2, and I associate David Humphrey's voice as a character. Not only that, he also did Shadow's voice in Sonic Heroes, which is another one of my favorite games. And yeah, that's another reason why he's so high. Unfortunately, he didn't voice the character for very much of the franchise, which sucks, because he's my all-time favorite. And it was sucked even more that he didn't even voice the character in that that fan dub, they had all those voice actors. He used voice Knuckles because they got Jason Griffith to do Shadow. But I was like, yeah, I know that was cool, the Ryan Drummond and Jason Griffith Shadow. But I wanted David Humphrey as Shadow. He's the most natural. I don't know. I just really like his version of Shadow. Just listening to the voice clips, it was like easily his sound the most natural to me. And I just love, I just love this version. This is what his performance is what made me fall in love with this character. Shadow's my second favorite Sonic character, and it's because of this game and his performance here. He was very nuanced. You can tell there's a darkness behind him, but also there's a bit of like mystery behind his voice. He also has a little bit of sympathy, and sometimes he tries to be edgy, but you can tell that's not actually the character. It's not like a fake thing, and when he talks natural, it's less that, but it's still similar. I don't know how to describe it, but listen to his voice without the loud music in Sonic Adventure 2, and especially in Sonic Heroes, where it's the most natural. Sonic Heroes has a really good voice direction. A lot of people don't mention that. But yeah, my favorite Shadow voice actor is David Humphrey, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching the year of Shadow. This video is going to become outdated as soon as the December rolls around. We get Sonic Movie 3, but it was fun either way. Alright, now here's more of the voice actors again.
Hope you can keep up with me. Pathetic. Even with all this help, you still couldn't defeat Sonic.
How are you doing, Sonic? The red swelling may be a weak spot. Sonic, aim for it!
Sonic, you literally broke our world. Why would I trust you to do anything? The world chooses to become my enemy. I will fight like I always have.
My name is Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!